Welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen, and today we are making a holiday Christmas time inspired soap using a fragrance that is from Bee Scented, and she has discontinued this shop, Jen from A&N Suds and Such. This was her shop. She now has a web store called Mountain Peak Fragrances, and I haven't shopped with them yet because I have other older stuff I'm using. So I don't know if this fragrance has been discontinued or not, but this is what I'm using today. And when I went to look up information on it, it's no longer available, but I had my notes on the side. It's a question mark, so I don't know if this is going to cause acceleration or separation. And it had a really high usage rate. It doesn't have any vanillin in it, so I'm not expecting a discoloration on this. And it does have sort of a citrus and a bright undernote to it. It's I don't know, let me see. How would we describe this? It's got an almost sweet, fruity scent to it. It's really nice. It's kind of bright. Anyway, it's called Holiday Sparkle. And it made me think of some bright, kind of crisp colors, which I went over to my shelf back here. I have some sparkles. These are Sugar Pearls from Brambleberry, and I love the color. And then I have these left over from last year. And I thought these would be really pretty on top, just sort of a blue and silver. I thought it looked very holiday and sparkly. And so with that top being in mind, here's the color I chose for the swirl color inside the soap. It's Azure Blue Mica, and this is from Wholesale Supplies Plus. Isn't that pretty? I thought it went really pretty with the blue on top. So I'm thinking of blue. It makes me think of chilly, snowy, holiday, all of those things. I just love it. So that is the toppings and the color swirl today. And I'm going to be doing coconut milk. I thought that sounded fun. So we'll do the milk in oil today with a coconut milk. So let me get everything pulled together and let's come back and make some holiday sparkle soap. All right, we are jumping right into this recipe. This is the same recipe that I used last week for our snowballs video. So I will leave a link for that video and the full recipe in the description box below. But I don't need to go through it again because it's all over there. And today I am only going to use clay. Again, I want the soap to be really bright and crisp. And although I love colloidal oats in my soap, it does tend to leave a little earthy, speckly look into it. So just doing the kale and clay today. And we'll get about, that's about a tablespoon is what we're calling it. So let me get this blended all up and we will come back and talk about our lye and our coconut milk. We are back and we're going to do the milk in oil method with coconut milk, and I love that. If you can find coconut milk that doesn't have added guar gum or any extra additives, much better if you can just find it plain. If it does have guar gum, I have used that before and it's fine, but you know, I prefer just pure coconut milk. So let's talk about this. We have 5.12 ounces or 145 grams of sodium hydroxide, and then to that we need 10 ounces or 286 grams of liquid. So what I put in here is 6 ounces of water that I put the sodium hydroxide in and 4 ounces of coconut milk. So that you always need to have whatever your lye is, at least that much liquid to mix it with. And then the leftover liquid can be used in an additive. You could do soy milk, oat milk, cow milk, goat milk. You can get really creative, but that's how I do the milk and oil method, and it makes it really easy, and you don't have to worry about scorching and freezing this and making a slushy to mix your sodium hydroxide in. You can do that. There are other ways to make milk soaps, but I find this to be the simplest way. So I'm going to go ahead and add my milk to the oils, and that way I can get it nice and blended in there. Of course, it won't incorporate because milk and oils don't really mix, but we'll get it as blended up as I can before we add our lye mixture in here. And I did add the fragrance already into the oils. I'm hoping it behaves. We will see if we get like separation or acceleration or any of the funny business going on. You know, we'll deal with it as it comes. There we go. Beautiful. And this nice bright light color will turn a caramely brown when we add the lye in here, and that is just the lye reacting with the milks, and it kind of caramelizes a little and it bounces back to a nice ivory. But I want white, so I have my titanium dioxide bottle off to the side here. So I'll add a little TD in to some portion and then my blue mica in the other portion when we get to that step. All right, let's get our lye solution in here. And my lye does have cane sugar, tussa silk, and sodium lactate. And I've talked about that in several other videos, so I don't need to go over all the details. We're just making soap today. Sometimes I like to do more of a tutorial style. Sometimes I like to just get to making soap. Today, it's all about making the soap. So I like to stir and then pulse, so I get a feel for how this fragrance is going to behave. Stir and pulse. And there it's starting to beige up. That's the milk reacting with the lye. And again, this would bounce back to a very light ivory, but I am going to use the TD. So let's get to it. And we are back. It's the next day, and I love the top of this. I want to tell you, I did add just a touch of this very shimmery, it's a very fine biodegradable glitter, and I got this years ago, and I can't even remember where, but I had it, and I wanted this to really sparkle. And we have a teeny little bit of soda ash going on, but I actually think it makes the top of the soap look frosted. So I'm not going to steam this or anything. I'm going to let it ride. I think it is perfection. I'm very happy with that. But we've got to see how those swirls came out on the inside. So let's get this out of the mold and get to cutting. Are back with the lovely Olga, and she kind of matches our color theme today. I'm loving it. And so I am going to cut this with the sprinkle side on the side like that. So hopefully I won't get too many drag marks through this soap. A little bit is fine, but if you have stuff on top of your soap and you don't drag it through, it reduces that. So let's get into this beautiful soap today. It smells really good. That fragrance soaped very well. Absolutely no issues. Little sugar pearls going ping. Okay. So here we go. Wow. That's pretty. Oh, I love it. This looks frosty and cool, and it smells like that too. Super happy with that. Let's talk about gel phase. We went through gel phase last night, and I do gel even my milk soaps, whether this was goat milk or coconut milk or anything. I like to gel my soaps. So I did put the Loaf on a heating pad and put a cooler over the top, and it generated a little bit of heat. I do not leave the heating pad on. I turn it on for about an hour, then I turn it off and just let it sit overnight. So that is how I like to force gel with my soaps. What is gel? Gel is speeding along the saponification process. That's the oils and the lyes doing their magic, turning from oil into soap. And the saponification is kind of the cooking, if you will. That's why a hot process soap goes through the gel phase in the pot as you're cooking it, and it gets that literally almost a translucent gel to it. That's gel phase. And so cold process soap goes through that in the mold if you make it go through that. If not, it's just fine. But the reason I like gel phase is because it unmolds a little firmer the next day. And I just like it. The colors are a little more vibrant when you do gel phase. If you're going for pastels, don't do gel phase, you'll get a more pastel color. But I'm just a gel girl. That's just how I learned, and so I tend to default towards gel phase. So there's all about that. Coconut milk. I love it in soap. It aids to the lather. It has a creamy feel. It is excellent. I like coconut milk as much as goat milk soaps. I think they're both divine. And I am really glad that I did not put oats in here. It just gives it a much crisper look. If I had had oats in here, it would have had little flecks. Wouldn't have been a bad thing, but I kind of like these being really crisp because it has a crisp scent, and the colors to me just look cool and crisp. So anyway, I'm glad I didn't put oats in today. And of course, the little sugar pearls on top are, again, just sugar, and so they will dissolve. They don't mess up your septic system. They're not bad for your drain if they pop off in your shower. It's just totally fine. It's kind of like doing a sugar scrub for your face, only they'll just pop off after a couple of uses. So sugar pearls are a great way to go for a little extra decorating, and they're so easy to find. Any holiday season at your local supermarket will usually have like a cake decorating section. Those sugar pearls are fine to use on top of soap. Oh, these swirls are just wispy and pretty. I'm very happy. And again, this recipe and this fragrance behaved perfectly. I would recommend it. If you're looking for a good recipe, give this one a try. Oh, this was fun to make. I love it. It says all things cool and snowy and crisp to me. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you try the recipe. Merry Christmas and have a wonderful day.